Hello and welcome back. I'm Sam Evans and you're watching The Electric Viking. Today we're not just diving into major developments coming out of China that could have far-reaching consequences for not just the Chinese EV industry, but for the global battery and EV markets. Just recently, China has introduced what might be the strictest safety regulations for EV batteries the world's ever seen, and they're scheduled to go into effect July 2026. These new rules have massive implications, considering that over 70% of the world's EVs are manufactured in China. If China shifts the standards, the rest of the industry is going to have to follow. Many people in the West often perceive China as a loosely regulated industrial environment, a Wild West, so to speak, where companies operate without constraint. That view, however, couldn't be further from the truth. Having just returned from China, we can confidently say that reality is starkly different. China is heavily regulated in many sectors. For example, China recently outlawed certain full self-driving features that are currently legal and in use in the West. We'll discuss this in a different video, but it underscores how strictly China is beginning to enforce rules in tech. Now, let's get to the big story. China's new battery safety regulations. In essence, the Ministry of Industry and Information Technology has announced mandatory safety standards for EV batteries, and they will come into effect July 1st, 2026. These standards are being called the most stringent and advanced, with a key requirement being no fire or explosion under any circumstance, including thermal runaway. For context, thermal runaway is when a battery cell overheats uncontrollably and triggers a chain reaction in other cells, which can cause fire or explosion. Under the current standards, battery systems only need to provide a 5-minute warning signal before each event escalates, but under the new regulation, that won't be enough. China now demands that batteries must not catch fire or explode at all. This is an extremely high bar to meet, and frankly, we're not even sure if it's technologically feasible under all conditions. We've produced over 7,000 videos on the EV industry and battery tech, and we can say with confidence that this requirement sets a new precedent. The timing of this regulatory change is also interesting. It comes only weeks after a high-profile incident involving Xiaomi's SU7 EV, which crashed into a concrete barrier. Tragically, the passengers were trapped inside, and the car caught fire and burned to the ground. Many people suspect that this incident may have influenced the timing and nature of the regulation, though that's impossible to say for certain. The updated regulations introduce several new challenges and testing protocols that go far beyond previous requirements. Here's a breakdown. 1. Thermal diffusion test. Previously, a warning signal was all that was required when a thermal event began, and now the battery must resist fire or explosion. 2. Smoke safety. Any smoke released from a battery malfunction must not cause harm to the vehicle's occupants. 3. Underbody impact testing. Batteries must be shielded effectively. This kind of protection is a focus for EV manufacturers. For instance, Xpeng highlighted its efforts in underbody shielding during its recent EV Global Day. 4. Fast charging safety. Batteries must undergo 300 fast charging cycles and then pass a short circuit test. These cycles must be conducted over a very short frame of time, such as within a week, making it strenuous. Industry analysts believe that these new rules will have a significant effect on industry consolidation in China. The standards are so demanding that many small and medium-sized battery manufacturers may struggle to meet them. This could result in some companies shutting down or being absorbed by larger players. Whether intentional or not, the regulation seems likely to weed out weaker companies. This may not be entirely negative, given depending on how you view the broader industry. China currently has an oversaturation of EV manufacturers, car brands, and battery makers. Streamlining the industry could potentially enhance long-term efficiency and innovation. The good news for some is that leading battery manufacturers like CATL, BID, and CALB claim to already meet or even exceed these expectations. CATL, the world's largest battery maker, has had its new thermal propagation battery tech in production since 2020. BID, known for its ultra-safe blade battery, is well positioned to comply. Emerging players like JMEV are also saying they're ready. However, simply using a CATL battery doesn't guarantee your vehicle meets the regulation. It requires close collaboration between the battery supplier and manufacturer to ensure that the entire system, including housing and integration, is built to spec. Let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Are the rules too strict? We actually think they might be. While it's always good to push for higher safety standards, we also need to be realistic about what's achievable and whether the benefits truly outweigh the costs. Here's something that's often overlooked. EV battery fires are incredibly rare, so far less common than fires in traditional internal combustion engine vehicles. Some studies indicate that battery fires are extremely rare, So if these are rare, then why are the intense safety regulations necessary? And then there's the question of whether they will meaningfully improve real-world outcomes. For example, in extreme accidents, say crashing at 200 kilometers an hour, your survival chances are slim, whether or not the battery catches fire. So while the rules may enhance safety on paper, in the real world, the difference could be negligible for most users. That said, even rare fires attract media attention and can erode public trust. From that angle, the government might be trying to proactively address consumer fears, no matter how irrational. One of the long-term upsides of this new standard is if they work as intended, it's reduced insurance premiums and lower maintenance costs. By lowering the risk of battery-related incidents, automakers and consumers can benefit from decreased liability and service overheads. There's also a strong argument to be made about this move that's strategic and designed to give Chinese companies a leg up globally. By forcing domestic manufacturers to innovate and comply with the strictest standards in the world, China could create a new benchmark that other countries must follow and comply with. Once that happens, Chinese battery makers will be the only ones truly ready, giving them an even greater share of the global battery market. In this sense, the regulations act as both a safety measure and an industrial policy tool, a mixed bag. So, where does this all leave us? On the one hand, China is setting a new gold standard for EV battery safety, one that could significantly enhance public trust and lead to better technology for batteries as well. On the other hand, it's likely going to increase costs significantly and force smaller players out or to be absorbed by other larger competitors, and may only offer marginal real-world safety improvements, considering how rare battery fires already are. Whether the regulation is too strict or strategically brilliant remains to be seen. But one thing's for sure, this move will shape the future of the EV industry worldwide. As always, we love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Is this regulation a game changer, or is it regulatory overkill? Will this hurt innovation or accelerate it? Thanks for tuning in, good night, and take care.